I would like to welcome you to the official launch of the Working Partner's newest education and training delivery system, which is called OnDemand 24/7. We are very excited to share information about this new approach to learning and to showcase the first course that's been developed for this online format, which is entitled Drug-Free Workplace Employee Education Essentials. This course answers some of the most commonly asked questions that employees have about drug-free workplace issues. Okay, folks, we have several objectives for today's webinar. We are going to spend about a half an hour and showing you things such as this. We're going to talk about and share how on-demand learning can fit into your master plan for employee education and supervisor training. We will discuss the benefits of online learning for you and your employees. We'll review the approach that was used in developing the course. We'll also talk about the 5 focus areas that are addressed in the Employee Education Essentials course. We'll answer frequently asked questions about on-demand learning. We will have the money talk, and we'll make sure that you know what you need to do to get started to register your employees for this on-demand 24/7 course. Let me first share how we at Working Partners think that the on-demand learning best fits into your master training and education plan. And you do have a master plan, right? What we mean by that is that you know how you'll accomplish your annual drug-free workplace employee education, that you know what you'll do for the masses or for the large group if you do bring people together in a traditional classroom setting. You know what you'll do for those who need a makeup or who are hard to reach. And you'll have a plan for new hires. I guarantee you'll be thankful you have a workplace plan in place, especially when it comes time to demonstrate to an authority like the BWC or the Department of Transportation that everyone has received the education. No scrambling. Let me share with you what learning strategies we think work best for each of these different approaches. For the large group, you could have a Working Partners trainer come to your location. Or you could do it yourself after having taken our Train the Trainer course. We've also created a Toolbox Talks manual if you need to break the session into bite-sized talks, which you could deliver, for example, on location if you're standing around the company truck. For those who need a makeup session, again, you can do it yourself using TOT materials, or you could register your employee for a live Working Partners webinar or a classroom session that we hold here at our Columbus Bryce Road location. Now, both the webinars and the classroom sessions are scheduled on a very regular basis. This is a good thing because it's live training. We can kind of look eyeball to eyeball in the classroom. But the challenging thing is that it's held on a specific date at a specific time, and it's during normal business hours, which can be a challenge for some of you folks. Similarly, for your new hires, you can do it yourself, or again, register them for a live webinar or a classroom session. Well, now with the availability of on-demand 24/7, we think it really fills a gap, especially for those who need makeup sessions for new hires, and in those situations when scheduling is tough. You know, folks, we are very excited about the benefits that on-demand offers for both you and your employees. Let's talk about your WIFM. That's WIFM. What's in it for me? What's in it for the employer? This type of education is very accommodating. Once the employee has their log-on information, they can take it anytime, anywhere, as long as they have access to a computer and they can get on the internet. The training is very affordable, which I told you we'll have that money talk in a few minutes. It is very easy. You register and pay online. Your employees are emailed log-on instructions, and they're sent regular reminders until they complete the course. We'll talk more about this in a moment, but it is in compliance with many authorities who mandate drug-free workplace employee education. And as an educator, I really care about this one. The course is motivating. If your employees need to make changes in their relationship with alcohol or other drugs, we expect this course to help motivate them to do so, which you know is an added benefit for you because if they deal with issues on their own, you won't have to. So what's the wisdom for the employee? Well, first and foremost, probably, it was really important for us to put together a course that was not boring. Now, we heard from our beta testers that the hour went very fast when they tested the course, and I even had someone mention that it was fun, so maybe not boring and for some a little bit fun. The content is very relevant for them personally and hopefully for their family and for their friends. Again, we designed it to be motivating. We want your employees to take a look at themselves, and we want them to be motivated to make changes if that's necessary. And the course is full of resources, written handouts they can print, and websites they can explore after the course. I want to share 3 quick points about what went into the development of the course. Because I'll be real honest with you, we reviewed a lot of other online courses, and the majority were nothing that we would really want your employees to spend their valuable time on. We saw a lot of talking heads, we saw statistics that were outdated and meaningless, and we saw information that was dull and not real applicable to real life. So let me tell you about these 3 things we used in the approach. We wanted to crawl into the skin of your employees so that we could engage these adults with adult learning theory. I mean, we actually used kind of a theoretical basis here to engage them and motivate them to learn and to retain and to change. So the 3 points. First of all, we applied 20-plus years of knowing what works. You know, drug-free workplace, those of you that have done training in this area, you know that drug-free workplace and alcohol and drug issues are very sensitive topics. We've dealt with a lot of resistance, and we've handled a boatload of questions over the years, and we tried to bring all that learning into the development of this course. We researched and we applied best practices of on-demand learning, such things like how much and how often a participant needs to interact with the computer to stay engaged, how and when to use visuals versus words versus a video, how the rhythm and pacing should be, how stories and examples should be integrated. And of course, here's a big one. We wanted to be sure we knew how to overcome participant misbehavior. Not that your employees would do that, but you know, employees that might try to skip through the course without really hearing and seeing the information. We got that covered too. And finally, we focused on topics that we know are relevant and that will make a difference. Let me show you the 5 areas that the course focuses on. First of all, number 1, the course focuses on a good WIFM. Again, what's in it for me? We think it's very important that employees really understand how they benefit from your drug-free workplace program. Now, everybody knows that there are lots of benefits for the company in regard to drug-free workplace, but employees have a lot to gain too. A large section of the course focuses on common drugs of abuse. We know right now that there are 3 categories of drugs that are really impacting personal and work lives. And those drugs are marijuana, prescription medication, and alcohol. We also understand that there's a real lack of knowledge about these drugs, and that lack of knowledge can contribute to problems that unfortunately oftentimes come to work. The employer has the opportunity, and you might be the only opportunity, to help blast some of those myths and help employees get it right for themselves and for the families. We spend some time looking at low versus high-risk use. Evidence-based information is now available to give guidance about how to avoid addiction and problems associated with abuse. And folks, this is not unlike information we've known for years about how to prevent other health problems, like heart disease and diabetes and cancer. Most of us know how much exercise we should get and what foods we should try to eat to stay healthy, but not many of us really know low-risk drinking guidelines to avoid alcohol-related problems. The fourth area is assistance. Like I said before, your job will be much easier if your employees recognize problems and reach out for assistance before problems show up on the workplace and on your doorstep. And finally, testing. We know that most questions that come to you about your drug-free workplace program do involve testing. From those years of experience, we know what employees want to know, and we know what they need to know and what they don't understand about testing. So these are the 5 focus areas of the on-demand course that we're rolling out. Now, this is really great information, but how do you present it in a way that's not just a talking head or a verbal brochure or a wordy PowerPoint presentation? How should it be presented, especially if we want employees to learn and retain and to make changes, which is very important? What I'm going to do here on my end is to do a little fancy footwork. I feel like a little air traffic controller. And I want to bounce us to the online course so I can actually show you a couple of strategies that we use to try to keep the course very engaging. All right, so hang with me. I am going to pause my screen while I bring up the on-demand course. And let's see if it's ready for you to see now. All right. So here's the on-demand course. This is what the employee would see when they logged onto the course. I'm just going to bounce us around to 5 areas of the course that I think are significant, particularly when we're talking about how we're going to keep people engaged. Let me start by showing you that we've incorporated video. I believe there are 3 videos in the course. Let me kind of show you one. Now, this video illustrates the idea that we all have a desire to alter our state of consciousness, to feel high, if you would. Let me show you this video.
Have you ever seen a child do this? Spinning around and around until you felt dizzy, then stumbling and laughing till the feeling went away? The desire to change our state of consciousness, to feel euphoric or high, is a pretty basic need. Some people meet that need in healthy ways through sports, music, relationships with people, or nature. Others rely on alcohol and other drugs, which is a quick and easy way to experience that altered state of consciousness.
So that's an example of a video. Let me show you an example of what we call Mythbusters. We used a Mythbuster format to teach the information about the 3 categories of drugs. So let me show you the Mythbuster game about prescription medication. Hang with me real quick. Here we go. I'm just going to show you just a piece of this.
3 truths and a myth for prescription drugs.
Go ahead and click to play here.
I will not test positive for prescription medication if it was prescribed by a doctor and I am taking it according to his or her directives. After marijuana, prescription medications are the most commonly abused drugs in the U.S. Prescription medications, particularly painkillers, are highly addictive. And the best way to dispose of a prescription medication is to flush it down the toilet.
Click on 3 truths and then submit your answer.
Okay, now I'm purposely going to get this wrong so you can see what happens, okay? I'm going to say that these are the truths. I'll submit my answer. Now this is a game. This is not a quiz. So it's going to tell me that I'm incorrect, and it's going to tell me I can try again. So this time I'm going to see if I get the information correct. And what will happen when I hit submit is that the game will then give me education about each of these 3 areas. So I'm going to go ahead and submit. I'm not going to let this run very long. I'm correct?
Let's get specific.
So again, it goes through each of the 4 areas and gives me information. And we do the Mythbuster game with prescription medications, with marijuana, and with alcohol. We've also created some other types of interactive games. Let me show you one called Variables. And what this one does, it explains why we can't exactly say how long marijuana stays in the body. This is a very common question.
Click on a number and drag it to the box below to learn more about these variables.
Click to begin this game. I'm not going to go through all of them, but each Number gives us information about the variables that make it difficult to say how long weed stays in the system. Here we go.
How much did the person use? Unlike the measured amount of alcohol in a 12-ounce beer, the amount of marijuana in a joint, a pipe, or a food substance is not standardized.
And then the learner would need to go through all four. Now, if they hit next too soon, and didn't do the rest, there's the message they would get. Oops, you have to do all four sections before clicking next. Rather obnoxious, but hopefully gets their attention. There are also 3 quizzes. I want to show you one of the quizzes. There are 3
It's time
quizzes.
to test your knowledge about testing.
3 questions, and they need to get an average of 75% on the 3 quizzes to pass the course. In this particular one, what you're asked to do is take the answer and drag it up to the box, and then submit the answer. I got that one right, thank heavens. Let me also show you while we're here the resources that I referenced earlier. The learner at any time can go to the top, press on resources, and what will drop down is a list of websites that they can visit, which are the 5 sites at the bottom that we think are relevant. And then we reference 5 handouts through the course. If they click on one of the handouts, they can either save it to their computer or they can print it right then. If they have a question and they want to email us, they can do that by clicking Ask Us. These are the things I wanted to show you. I'm going to freeze my course, my computer again so I can get back to our presentation. Let's take a look at some of the commonly asked questions. Folks, I will tell you that to make sure that we had the rhythm and the pace and the interactions the way that we wanted it, we did beta test the course with clients and system leaders and gathered their frequently asked questions. I will give a little shout out to Sherry Nichols, who I know is on the course today, and she was one of our beta testers. It was invaluable to get that information. We worked with clients, we worked in-house, we worked with system leaders to get all this feedback. So let me give you a couple of the frequently asked questions and some answers. Here's the first one. Is the content of the course appropriate for employees who have been with us a while? And the answer to that is absolutely. Even if we've come to your site year after year after year to do education, or if you've used our TOT materials, I guarantee you that the employees will hear information that they've not heard before. So it is appropriate for someone who's never gotten education, and it's also appropriate for people who have gotten a lot if they've been with your company for a while. Let me give you another frequently asked question. Does the course cover specific policy issues? Well, that's up to you to give the specifics, but we'll provide the resources to make that happen. You'll need to be sure that you give them a copy of your policy, but we're also giving them a handout which lists all the information that they should get about your program. So in this course, we talk policy a lot. We just can't give specifics since we have people from all different companies representing all different policies. We've been asked this question a lot. Will the course meet compliance with authorities? If you're mandated by the Department of Transportation, the course can be used to fulfill the employee education requirement. If you're in Ohio's drug-free safety program, the course will also meet that employee education requirement. And the reason is because it was developed by working partners, it will last an hour, and it does have a quiz. Now remember that the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation for the drug-free safety program also mandates that you offer new information each year. And we've got you covered on that too, because in our employee education courses, you know that we already offer, they cover a wide variety of topics, and we will be making those available in this on-demand format. We also anticipate that the course will also fulfill mandates in other states. Please give us a call if you work in other states and you want to talk specifics about that. Here are some topics that you'll see released in the future. A course on alcohol, marijuana, DUI, binge drinking, prescription drug abuse, pain meds, enabling, and raising drug-free kids. Also, we have a 1-hour supervisor training in the works for this on-demand format, so be on the lookout for an announcement about the availability of that course. The next frequently asked question is, can I apply for Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation safety grant money to help pay for it? Now, you know that those of you in the drug-free safety program at the basic and the advanced levels are eligible for safety grant money the first 2 years you're in the drug-free safety program. BWC will reimburse there's the yes. BWC will reimburse $25 per employee for a course with a maximum of $1,000 in your 2-year period. So they will reimburse for this course. Let's go ahead and have the money talk. Working Partners charges per head for the course. Working Partners Consortium rate is $50 per person, and the non-consortium rate is between $70 and $90 per head, depending on the level of relationship that you do have with Working Partners. There are 4 important points that you need to know about the online on-demand courses. Number 1, they do have a 60-day shelf life. So after you purchase the course for a particular employee, they will have to take it within 60 days. And starting 5 days before the expiration date, we'll badger them. We will send them a reminder every day, those last 5 days, to tell them that they need to take it soon. Because it has a 60-day shelf life, we will also not be able to process transfers or cancellations. That's why we gave it a 60-day shelf life instead of something shorter than that. So make sure they take it within that 60 days. Whoever takes the course needs their own email address. They can't use yours. They can't use a generic one for the company. It's 1 email address per person. There is audio throughout the course, which I think I demonstrated today. So the computer that the employee uses must have speakers in addition to internet capabilities. And it's important to know that we've given you control here. We've given you control to register online anytime you want to, excuse me, and to pay with a credit card. And when you pay with a credit card, you will get a receipt that you can put in a file so that you can apply for that safety grant money if that's applicable for you. So let's review how to get started. We're almost at 30 minutes. I wanted to let you know what steps you need to take in order to connect your employee with one of these courses. You'll first need to purchase the course. Then the employee will log on. They'll take the course within 60 days, and then they'll be able to print a certificate. Let me tell you a couple of things about each of these items. To purchase the course, you'll go to www.workingpartners.com with your credit card. After you pay, the participant will receive an email with the receipt. The participant will receive that email with the receipt. And he or she will also receive an email with log-on instructions and a password for the Learning Center. When they're ready to log on, they will go to the Learning Center, and there is a link for the Learning Center in the instructions email. They'll enter their email address and their password. They'll take the course within 60 days, and they'll need to pass the course, or they can retake it. Folks, they can actually retake it as many times as they need to in order to get a passing score. They will not be able to get a certificate until they score 75% or better. And finally, they'll print their certificate. They can download that as well, but they are instructed to give that to the person that administers your drug-free workplace program. So you will have that documentation that they've taken the course. Please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out with any questions or any thoughts about this new offering. You'll see our phone number, our email address, information for the web. Really hope that you are excited, as we are, about this new approach to drug-free workplace education and training. We encourage you to check it out, and we'll be very anxious to hear what your employees think of this first course. We want to thank you again for joining us, and have a great rest of the day.